Hello, and welcome to another episode of Crizzy Books. I'm Crizzy, or Criz. And today I'm going to be doing a review for Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. In Rosemary's Baby, we follow Rosemary and Guy Woodhouse. They are apartment hunting in New York City. And while they are about to sign a lease on a new apartment, a different apartment opens up, a dream apartment. They back out of the contract on the apartment they were going to move into, and instead move into this new dream apartment. And then a bunch of weird shit starts happening. They meet their next door neighbors who are very friendly, an elderly couple. They tend to have people over all the time. People are coming and going a lot. They have parties. They hear flute music. So things are a little weird, but Guy actually takes to them, becomes very good friends with them. Rosemary kind of keeps her distance. She's nice to them, but isn't really concerned with becoming best friends with her next door neighbors. One day she meets a younger girl in the basement doing laundry. She says that she lives with her neighbors, and she has on this charm that kind of stinks. But they kind of hit it off. They're kind of becoming fast friends. And then shortly after, they find her dead on the sidewalk. She's jumped out of the building and killed herself. So that's a little weird. Rosemary and Guy are talking about how they want to have a baby, so they attempt to make one, and things get really weird really fast. Rosemary passes out. She's kind of in and out of consciousness, and then she starts seeing a lot of weird stuff, as if there's a bunch of people in the room, like her neighbors and other people that she's seen. And then kind of like a demon, instead of Guy, is trying to get her pregnant. It's all very weird, very disturbing. And shortly after, Rosemary does become pregnant. This is very exciting. This is what they've always wanted. And then the neighbors weirdly get very involved in her pregnancy. They send her to a doctor that they highly recommend. They start making sure that she is taking her vitamins every day, which is just this concoction of disgusting stuff. They give her that weird charm that she saw on that girl that killed herself, and it stinks. And all of this starts to feel very strange to Rosemary. She feels like she's being followed. Maybe she's losing her mind a little bit. Maybe all these people are in cahoots with each other. Maybe they're not, and she's just completely delusional and cracking. She contacts one of her closer friends, an older guy, and he's like, yeah, this feels weird. He gives her a book about witches. She starts to make connections. Something's up with these people. Something's wrong. Then her friend ends up in a coma. Then he ends up dead. And then she tries to run away, but she's stopped and told that she's crazy. And then she ends up back at home, completely restrained, drugged up. She has the baby. And it turns out that baby is actually the devil. This book is fantastic. I loved this book so much. I've already seen the movie, so I know the story. But this book is just as good, if not better. I do kind of wish that I would have went into this blind, just because there is so much subtlety with characters and what's happening and their actions. And you might miss it if you don't know what's going on, or you just kind of think it's odd until things are fully revealed. And it's just masterfully done. One of the things I really loved about it is that the dialogue and the characters all feel so very real. It's rare that you can read a book where people say things in such a realistic way, kind of stopping themselves mid-sentence almost, or even stumbling on their words, or not really sure, how to continue a conversation. Just weird awkwardness between people. That's here, and it's great. The characters in this are some of the most believable and realistic characters I think I've ever read. And that extends to the settings, the apartments that they're in and the way that they're described, with furniture being kind of a hodgepodge of different eras. It feels lived in. Throughout this story, Rosemary is having these weird, almost fever dream sequences that I really liked. You're kind of confused and disoriented, but that's the feeling you're supposed to have because that's how she feels. One of the big moments in this is when Guy and Rosemary are trying to get pregnant, and then all of this witch coven are surrounding her, and there's this demon that is blanking her. It is so well done. It is scary. It is freaky. It's a really great part of the story, and one of the things that I think really makes it such a great horror book. is moments like that. And just the way that it's written, it's so readable. I was hooked. Couldn't really put it down. I thought it was just fantastic and just very accessible and easy to read. Earlier, I talked about the subtlety and all these tiny little drops of hints that something's not quite right that go on in this story. And that's one of the biggest strengths to this story is something weird or off will happen, but it's just normal enough that you can brush it off and say, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's not that big of a deal. Things like she is being watched and followed. Guy is spending a ton of time next door with the neighbors. There's always random people coming and going. The weird music that she hears through the walls. Guy's career. Guy's an actor, and he's trying to make it. And this man who beats him out for a part all of a sudden becomes blind, which is just a great, fortunate event for Guy, because now he gets to take over that role. It seems weird, though, that would happen all of a sudden. That weird charm that they have her wear, like, that seems odd. The concoction they make her drink every day. Her cravings. She starts craving raw meat while she's pregnant. Very strange. And then at one point, this woman, Louise, she's knitting these booties, but they're in a weird shape, almost like hooves. And there's so much more than that. Those were just like kind of standout things for me. They just feel very observational, and Rosemary notices them. But again, it's like, it's weird, but it's not too weird. It could just be coincidental, and just a little odd. And she shrugs it off. And that just, to me, felt very realistic, because I think a lot of people would do that. Myself, I would do that. I'd be like, that's kind of strange, right? Maybe, I don't know. And then you just move on with your life. But in reality, you've been impregnated with the devil. And to talk about Rosemary's pregnancy, as a man, pregnancy already sounds like an absolute nightmare. But having the devil growing inside of you and withering you away and putting you in constant pain for months and months and months. And that just sounds, thank God I'm a guy. I'm glad to be a dude. This book also hit on kind of a personal level for me in terms of like meeting new people and trusting people and letting people into your life. I'm very much not like that. I'm not quick to make new friends. I'm not quick to trust people. This does no favors for me in that regard. I don't trust anybody ever. You shouldn't, because they are probably trying to put a devil baby inside of you. And the ending is just the best thing ever. I can't express how much I loved this ending. Her walking into the adjoining apartment and seeing this carriage and all of the people that she knows, some people that she doesn't, all crowding around, just very excited about this new baby. And then we find out that it is the actual devil in a carriage, and they are all just ecstatic. And then Rosemary's acceptance of what's happened and her being like, well, it's still my baby, so get away from me and get away from it. It's mine. Yeah, there's just something so cool and interesting to me about, like, this is crazy. This is a crazy, crazy event. The devil has been reborn from a human woman. And a small group of people is just gathered in a New York apartment to admire that. And that's it. It's not this crazy, earth-shattering, earth-ending thing. It's a baby, and there's a small group of people here to see it, and they're all excited. Except they keep shouting, "Hail Satan." There's a guy there taking pictures, and it just all just feels so real. And I love that realness and that small scale of such a crazy thing that's just happened. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really, it's hard to express how much I love that. Hail Satan! Overall, I'm going to give Rosemary's Baby a easy 5 out of 5. This is, God, I loved everything about it. I highly recommend it to any horror fan. And even if you're not a horror fan, I would still recommend this. It's not overly scary. It is kind of scary, but it's not overly scary. Obviously, there's a movie for this, highly recommend watching that too, because it's great. If you're a fan of Hereditary, the movie Hereditary, I love that movie. I feel like Hereditary and this book are just, they make out. It's like so similar in tone and style and even story. I think the ending of Hereditary is perfection, and I love the ending of this book, and I think that they are so similar in those regards. And yeah, check out Hereditary if you haven't seen it. And if you have seen Hereditary, read this book, because it's great. But yeah, what do you think? Do you love Rosemary's Baby? If not, what's wrong with you? Why? Sound off in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and as always, thank you for watching. Bye. Mwah.